Welcome to Lariat TV News. I'm Sarah Gill.
And I'm Julia Lorenz. Thanks for joining us today. Baylor Chapel is a time reserved for faculty and students to gather twice a week to worship and express devotion to Christ. However, after one speaker's recent presentation, students are questioning whether it's appropriate to discuss controversial topics in an environment meant to represent the Christian morals of Baylor. LTVN's April Odo has the story.
The current economic status of our nation, white supremacy, and feminism. All topics you wouldn't think you'd hear at a Baylor chapel. Wednesday morning sparked controversy amidst the student body. With the variety of different speakers that come to Waco Hall, there was one in specific that left some students feeling enraged.
O mystery, I have discovered you, and I am discovering you.
With the many political comments made throughout the chapel service, the speaker concluded her speech with a prayer to a God she calls mystery.
She doesn't pray in the name of God, and so I immediately, put my head up and I look around. There's however many 1,200, freshmen in there, still bowing and giving reverence to this false pagan deity, in my opinion, and I don't respect that.
So when we are grounded in beauty, when we walk the earth, when we ask those questions, we have the space to examine the systems that we participate in, systems like colonization or white supremacy. We ask ourselves questions as we love one another.
I think when she was talking about what it means to decolonize society, it seemed to be a mix of returning power to indigenous peoples, but also standing against capitalism and patriarchy, which is particularly interesting that she would be preaching that at chapel.
The thing about Baylor is we are a Christian campus, but that doesn't mean that we practice Christianity a certain way. So I think that it's great that we have speakers like her come to campus because they explore the different ways Christianity is expressed and the other ways us as members of the Christian faith can respect those different ways, those different viewpoints of the same religion, because she is a Christian. I support her, everything she did in that chapel service, including praying to, I believe it was Mother Mystery, but like I said, that was her chapel service to lead and ours to respect. So.
After parents expressed some concerns regarding the chapel speaker, the school responded by saying in part, "At Baylor we strive to be both a marketplace of ideas and a place where the love of Christ is extended toward others. When students encounter individuals with while they disagree, we challenge them to look first and foremost for what they have in common with the other person, before focusing solely on what may divide us." We reached out to the Baylor Associate Chaplain and Director of Worship and Chapel, Dr. Ryan Richardson, hoping for a response to the events that occurred. However, he stated that he did not have time to answer any further questions. For Lariat TV News, I'm April Odo.
Longtime Baylor tailgaters are still upset over a new vendor being brought in to manage football parties. Baylor brought in tailgate guys, a company from Alabama, to manage turnkey tailgate packages for the upcoming season, but for a higher price than what fans had been paying before. A spokesperson told the Lariat they are grandfathering in custom tailgate trailers to respect the investment made by longtime dedicated fans. They will also be able to bring personal items like chairs and TVs. This is a developing story, and LTVN will update you in the upcoming weeks.
Baylor's Honor Council report for the fall 2019 semester was released last week, with 151 violations reported. 25 of which proceeded to the Honor Council, where cases are heard in a roundtable discussion. All other cases were handled by faculty. The most common violations were others' work, plagiarism, and unauthorized collaboration. Sanctions for violations vary from getting a 0 on that specific assignment to receiving an F in the course and being suspended for 2 semesters. Linda Cates, Director of the Office of Academic Integrity, explains how the Honor Code seeks to serve and educate rather than being an intimidating experience.
I think the numbers may be up a little, actually. Sometimes that just means more faculty members are watching closely. I know we don't catch everything that happens, and some things are not reported that should be, but overall we want it to be an educational experience for students, not a we gotcha type thing.
One day, one family, one for Baylor was the motto for this year's Giving Day. This fundraising event allowed the Baylor family to raise more than $870,000 to help transform the lives of current and future students. LTVN's Brinshavia Jordan was on campus to capture how students were giving their thanks to these donors.
Baylor celebrated its 175th anniversary, also sharing in generosity with the 24-hour Giving Day fundraising event, giving current and future students much to be thankful for. This event allowed members connected to the Baylor family to give funds of any amount supporting specific areas within the university.
I decided to write a thank you note to thank the donors because I'm actually a Student Foundation scholar myself. Last year I received the Bill and Nancy Harlan Student Foundation Scholarship, and so I'm really grateful for the ability to go to Baylor because of the scholarships that I was provided because of people that were willing to give.
This is also in connection with Baylor's Give Light campaign, a way to impact every aspect of campus life and illuminating the path for future generations.
Giving Day is so important because we want our Baylor friends, family, and alumni to help support what we do here at Baylor and make an impact for our students.
Donations will be accepted until noon Central Standard Time on February 14th. For Lariat TV News, I'm Brinshavia Jordan.
The Heart of Texas Regional History Fair is making its annual appearance on campus Friday in the Bill Daniels Student Center, sponsored by the Texas Collection of Baylor. Students from 5th to 12th grade are participating with projects ranging from websites and performances to documentaries and exhibits. This year's theme is Breaking Barriers in History, either physical or cultural. At the top 2 winners of each 3 categories will advance to the state level on Texas History Day. There are expected to be around 60 judges, many of them Baylor professors and graduate students.
According to Baylor student government, 1 in 4 students on campus have food insecurity. Sick Hunger is a new initiative at Baylor. This program is partnering with a food pantry available for the students called The Store. Sophomore class Vice President Sutton Hauser shared the 2 main goals for this event are to get students involved on campus and bring light to the problem of food insecurity.
Having that caring community that Baylor has with the Christian commitment that we have, I would say really rally behind that. And even though you may not have this food insecurity yourself, it's still a problem on our campus, and it's something that we can easily help out by just donating a couple canned items or non-perishable items. Very easy to give and change really someone's life.
Up next, you'll see how one local church has found a temporary home during the I-35 construction.
And right after this break, we have a sweet Baylor love story that will warm your hearts this Valentine's Day weekend. Stay tuned.
At Baylor, our lights shine
while we push our limits
and guide the way.
At Baylor, our lights shine as we're making connections
and making an impression
as leaders
and as part of something bigger.
Baylor's light shines around the world, but it starts in each of us. Baylor, where lights shine bright.
Happy Valentine's Day, Baylor Nation. Baylor is known for fostering beautiful love stories. I sat down with one Baylor Bear who met her forever Valentine. It's February and love is in the air. It always is on Baylor's campus.
I started having a little crush on him. I was really lucky that he had a crush on me back.
Their first date, Christmas on 5th.
We went and actually sat outside of Carroll Science Building. We sat and watched the tree get lit. Sometimes we'll go visit and just sit there for a little while.
Baylor's campus played a special role in their relationship.
We like to take walks on campus and sit on the green and gold benches.
But one spot stands out among the rest.
Dane proposed on campus. He proposed at Burleson Quadrangle. It was pouring rain, so he proposed under this arch, and that's a place that we will always hold really dear.
They did feel the ring by spring pressure, but it was a good thing.
I knew that I wanted to marry Dan. It was really nice to be able to have those conversations of like, we're not going to be at Baylor after we both graduate, so what are the promises that we're going to make to each other?
They got engaged last April and are getting married in June.
I'm really lucky that I got to meet all my best friends, but also my future husband at Baylor. I think it's a beautiful place to meet friends and fall in love.
One of the many Baylor love stories. For Lariat TV News, I'm Sarah Gill.
This Saturday, Baylor Law School will host the annual People's Law School event, where lawyers and law school faculty will teach classes about prevalent legal matters to members of the community. The 9 a.m. event is free and will feature 20 different classes, 7 of which are new to the agenda. The goal of the People's Law School is to break down the concepts into bite-sized pieces that encourage the community to engage in important law topics.
A church for the homeless was left homeless itself due to the I-35 construction until Magnolia took them in to host their weekly Sunday service. LTVN's Grace Smith experienced this unique atmosphere.
So many of you have had lives that have been broken.
What started off as a simple act of inviting the homeless to breakfast turned into what is now Church Under the Bridge.
And you think, nobody's going to love me. Oh yeah, you're wrong. You're welcome in this place.
That's really the beginning. They started calling it Church Under the Bridge. So it really came out of their request to us to come be a part of their lives. And so it kept growing. And our attitude in terms of our model of ministry is that we don't go fix people. We don't do for people, we do with people.
For the past 27 years, this very unique and diverse church of about 250 people have met under the I-35 bridge until plans of reconstruction forced them to leave.
Department of Transportation called us and said, we're going to have to move you out. And they liked us. They were all for us and said, we hate that, but we're going to have to move you for a few years while we work on the bridge. And so we thought, well, what are we going to do?
This homeless church is now homeless themselves until Chip and Joanna Gaines, the founders of Magnolia, stepped in and took them in.
Part two of the story is we've been there now since last March, and it's been a great transition. It's a lot quieter. People can hear better, and we had to make a few little changes in the way we do things, but not much.
I met a lot more people, a lot of good people. A lot of people that are sincere and honest. Everybody's the same. Nobody's different. Nobody's better than anybody else here. I don't care if you went to Baylor. I don't care if you're rich or whatever. Everybody's the same.
We always want to be a church that is inclusive of people and the gifts God gave them.
Insect specimens, drawing, and journaling. That's the unlikely yet intriguing combination of one of Baylor lecturers' work. LTVN's Igor Stepchinsky sat down with this artist and is about to take us through his creative process.
Baylor's Martin Museum of Art is hosting a faculty biannual art exhibition where our very own art lecturers showcase their work. One of those artists is Greg Llewellyn. But if you ever step into his office, you'll find more than just pencils and drawing pads. You'll find a swarm of insects, a hobby he's been passionate about since he was 5 years old.
In all 19 different countries where I've collected insects. But it's just a passion I've had since I was a kid.
From beetles, dragonflies, rattlesnake tails, to butterflies, his work stems from combining his affinity for natural science and drawing.
I started to merge those two interests into this one. It's now become a pretty significant body of work that I've been working on for over 5 years now.
But his current line of work also combines the magic of storytelling through journaling.
Greg, you got to write these stories down. If nothing else, your grandchildren need to know about your adventures. I picked up a pencil and started writing directly onto the drawing. It completely transformed the drawing into something entirely different.
An unexpected combination indeed that immerses the audiences into a whole new experience.
Each individual bug is like a photograph in a family album to me. When they see that writing, it pulls them in. And I've had people stand in front of my drawings for 15, 20 minutes reading the entire drawing. And that doesn't happen for an artist.
For Lariat TV News, I'm Igor Stepchinsky.
The Baylor Spirit Squad has cheered on the Bear Athletics for 100 years. And what a better way to celebrate than with all the current success in the athletic department. LTVN's Grace Smith takes a stroll through the program's history.
Baylor Spirit Squads are celebrating 100 years of spirit, cheering on not only Baylor's athletic teams, but the community as well. Starting in 1920, the program has grown tremendously throughout the past century.
Our main goal is to always keep the fans engaged and the community engaged, not only at athletic events, but at university events. We go out into the community and we do a lot of community service events as well. And even nationally, we've really been able to, because of how well our sports teams have done, we've been able to go out nationally and spread that Baylor spirit, that Baylor love.
For the first 48 years of the program, men were only allowed on the squad, allowing women to join in 1968. Then a couple years later, the dance team, originally labeled the Honey Bears, was created.
We're under athletics, which is great, and we love it. And so we've gotten to do postseason volleyball, postseason basketball, bowl games for football, traveling to away football games. And so as far as Baylor specific, the growth in the program, our numbers have increased. We have 25 on all-girl, we've had 24 in the past on co-ed, and then 26 on dance, and 12 mascots.
Cheer alumni shared their experiences of when they were part of this team.
There were 2 tryouts, one in the morning and one in the afternoon, like 10 o'clock and 3 o'clock at D. DeLoso. They were very well promoted all over campus, and that's when all the voting happened, just like when they do their student government and the class elections. So you had to actually campaign since it was a voted on, which was crazy to think. So we did flyers, and we put flyers up everywhere.
It was much smaller. Now there's just tons, because they have the all-girl and the co-ed and the song leaders, and there's so many more in number. And then just everything on the field, you know, the pyrotechnics and all of that has just gotten so elaborate.
The staff would select and nominate the All-Americans, and then the entire staff would vote and to select the top 10 female and the top 10 male in the whole nation. And we actually ended up with 4 All-Americans from our little tiny squad of 10, which is huge.
For Lariat TV News, I'm Grace Smith.
After a $10,000 gift from Baylor Athletics and the Solid Gold Neighbor Initiative, Baylor student athletes visited local Waco schools to make an impact on elementary and middle school students. Athletes representing Baylor football and acrobatics and tumbling handed out free books and autographs to students at 5 Waco schools throughout the month of January. The event was a continuation of Baylor's efforts to recognize Waco ISD leadership in support of local schools and students.
After the break, we'll recap Baylor softball's home opener and preview a top 15 men's basketball matchup in Waco on Saturday.
Sports with Igor is coming up right after this.
The best and brightest are drawn to Baylor, where those from many backgrounds with many talents shine together before casting their light outward to illuminate the world. Through transformational learning opportunities that are grounded in Christian faith and service, and research that impacts lives and communities. Baylor University, a place where lights shine bright.
Scott Drew and his #1 ranked Bears extended their program record win streak to 21 games on Monday, beating the Texas Longhorns 52-45 in Austin. Baylor held Texas to the fewest points on their home court since 1983 with yet another stellar defensive performance. The squad now sets their sight to this Saturday when they will host 14th ranked West Virginia at the Farrell Center at 3 p.m. Here's Coach Drews on the team's mindset as they head into Saturday's big game.
We told our team how many in this locker room have beaten a #1. And at the end of the day, there's very few people, players, teams that ever beat a #1 team. You're never getting their B game. You're not getting their C game. You're not getting their B+ or A- game. And that means what makes it tough is that means you got to be on your A game. And it's hard to be on your A game for 18 conference games. And but if you want to win, you have to.
The women's basketball team has a matchup of their own this Saturday as they meet Oklahoma State in Stillwater at 7 p.m. The 22-1 Bears notched their 15th straight victory, defeating TCU on Wednesday 81-62. I was there to capture all of the action. The Baylor Lady Bears basketball team triumphed over rival TCU on Wednesday 81-62. It was a close game in the first half, but the Lady Bears pulled away in the third quarter.
We had to come to Jesus. No. Corrected some stuff. Challenged them, corrected some stuff. First thing is stop and dribble penetration. The second thing was help the helper.
The Lady Bears had one of their best performances from the free throw line with a 94.7 percentage.
Yeah, considering we are not usually making free throws lately, so this was the game I think was the turnaround for us. Maybe we'll start making free throws. Hopefully we'll start making free throws.
Dee Richards led all scorers with 17 points and was just 1 assist away from a double-double.
And let's also talk about on the defensive end, she held Ray to 5 points. So Dee just had an all-around good game.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Do it again.
Lauren Cox also made a stronger-than-ever comeback offensively since returning from injury, being just 4 assists away from a triple-double.
I'm not shooting 2 for 8 anymore, so just got to keep getting to the rim.
when I'm tired instead of trying to shoot jump shots, draw fouls, like Coach said.
The next match for our Lady Bears, Stillwater, Oklahoma, this Saturday against Oklahoma State University.
Can I get an amen, Dee Dee?
Amen.
Reporting sports for Lariat TV News, I'm Igor Stepchinsky. The Baylor softball team kicked off their season last weekend with an upset win over 23rd-ranked Auburn in the Clearwater Classic. The Lady Bears finished 2-2 on the weekend, led by senior pitcher Gia Rodoni. Rodoni and company took the field yet again for their home opener Thursday against Abilene Christian. Baylor trailed 1-0 early after a Lady Wildcat homer in the first, but the Lady Bears locked it down in the circle, as that was the lone hit ACU garnered all night, with Baylor cruising to a 10-1 win.
It feels great. We're glad to be back. I'm glad to have our home crowd here and be back in Getterman Stadium. So it was great.
It's really awesome for the home opener, especially to know what the potential we have for the rest of the year and just how we're going to do and how well our team is just meshing together. It's amazing.
I thought we had quality at bats and, ran a pitcher out, scored a lot of runs, couldn't ask for much more than that.
Hopefully you've bought your peanuts and Cracker Jacks, because it's finally baseball season. Big 12 preseason player of the year Nick Lofton and the number 25 Bears start the road to Omaha tonight when they take on the Nebraska Cornhuskers at Baylor Ballpark. First pitch is set for 6:30, but the team will be short-handed after an unspecified hazing incident last February has 14 upperclassmen receiving 2-game suspensions across non-conference play. The top-ranked acrobatics and tumbling team posted a season-high score on Sunday to beat the 10th-ranked Limestone College on the road. The Bears are off this weekend, but look to carry their momentum to February 23rd, where they'll host second-ranked Oregon for a marquee matchup at the Farrell Center. After sweeping Penn at home last weekend and improving their doubles record to 18-1, the men's tennis squad is headed into their biggest weekend of the season. The Bears are in Madison, Wisconsin this weekend to open up the ITA Indoor National Championships with a rematch against 6th-ranked Wake Forest, who the Bears beat handedly a little over a week ago in Waco. On the women's side, Coach Joey Scrivano and the Lady Bears are red hot. The team is still making a legitimate case to be included in the ITA national rankings as they improved to 6-0 with a win over Nebraska in Waco last Saturday. The Bears will be back in action on Sunday when they will host the Fighting Illini of Illinois at the Hawkins Indoor Tennis Center. Track and field will have their final tune-up this weekend before the Big 12 Indoor Championships later this month. The squad will split between the Tyson Invitational in Fayetteville, Arkansas, and the Iowa State Classic in Ames before heading back to Iowa State on February 28th and the 29th for the conference meet. 6 of the 9 current sports are in the top 25. I guess you can say Baylor Athletics is sitting pretty.
Be sure to watch us on BaylorLariat.com, YouTube, or the Waco City channel.
Thanks for watching Lariat TV News. Have a great weekend, Baylor Nation.